Kim. Hey, Kim. Even when you say yes. Thank you. 2 minutes. You're second. You guys ready?
Welcome, everybody. Oh, that's loud. All right. Maybe I just actually talked in. We good there? That's better. All right. Nope. Welcome, everybody, to the September board meeting for the Alexander Local Board of Education. Can we have roll?
Jay?
Here.
Lucy? Here. Aaron?
Here.
Josh?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have the adoption of the agenda with the 3 items on the addendum. So moved.
Seconded.
Roll.
Jay?
Yes.
Lucy?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes. First, we have reports and comments and the superintendent's reports.
All right, first off, I brought a couple of guests. I didn't bring them, but they came. I invited them. If you've not met Heather Wolf is the superintendent of the Athens Megs ESC, and Gary Dixon is the board member who serves both on Heather's board at the ESC and also on Tri-County's board as an Alexander representative. I met Gary at the graduation for Tri-County, invited him to come in and meet the board, talk a little bit about his role, and just kind of make some connections here within the community. So, Gary?
Hi. Gary Dickens, 1978 graduate from Alexander. I'm on the ESC board as a member and also president of the Tri-County Career Center. So basically I think our role on the board is about the same as you guys, is making decisions and voting on things, telling the superintendent when they're wrong or right or whatever. And that doesn't matter. And Heather.
Good evening. Just wanted to come and introduce myself as well as Gary, and to thank you for your participation with us here at the ESC. We run the preschool program together. we've hired staffing for you through the years. We have a good relationship, and Will and I have a great relationship. I knew him before he came to Alexander because at the ESC we have something called the State Support Team. It's a big grant that serves 8 counties and does school improvement work for the state of Ohio. And ours is, like I said, 8 counties here in southeastern Ohio. And so as the SST director, I got to know Will, and I always thought highly of him at Marietta, and so it was really nice to know that he was coming down here to Alexander. We do, like I said, a lot of staffing. We have preschool. We do a lot of grant work. One of the largest pieces of our work right now is through our Business Advisory Council and our Career Connected Learning. We've hired your career coach, Kara Bolin. We focus on internships, career panels, career assessments, and career coaching to help students figure out the best way to become what they want to be. And Kara, having known everyone here at Alexander and worked here for a long time, and I've known Kara for a long time, she was a great fit, and I really like how she has come in and looked at career coaching through PBIS, if you guys are familiar with positive behavioral interventions and supports here at Alexander. So she's doing a great job. We have a program called Project Rise that oversees all the career connected learning in the area, and our 2 staff there work with all the career coaches in Athens County and Meigs County. So do you have any questions for us?
One thing that came up in my head, do you guys partner with local industries at all with your career coaching and all that? Like to say, say there's a company coming in that says that we need this training coming in. Do you guys partner with?
So it's interesting because every educational service center, and there are 51 in the state of Ohio, originally there were 88, one for each county, but some have been absolved. So every ESC does things a little differently. An educational service center is in essence a school district. We have an IRN, and we can teach students pre-K through 12th grade. However, we're also a business, and so some ESCs do those sorts of things. Gallia Vinton ESC runs a car wash for truckers and buses. There are several other ESCs that, South Central Ohio ESC does like landscaping and lawn maintenance for businesses in the area. So it's really, we don't, but we could. Our role with the Business Advisory Council is to represent all of our 9 member districts and have businesses and industries give input and advise us on soft skills that are needed, things that are lacking when, and concerns they have with employability skills, things that they would like to see in education when it comes to career-connected learning. So it's really an advisory. But in that partnership, they have given to us, and we also give back to them. For example, I serve on a lot of their councils and give input, like to Holzer. Next week I'll be at the Holzer Advisory Council and talking about our partnership with Holzer and how they provide opportunities for our interns during the summer, things like that. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, exactly. But it's, well, for example, the honors diploma, it just had an additional requirement to it. And that additional requirement, it's not just work-based learning. It was a funny term because when I typed it, my spell checker went off. And I was like, is that even a word? But it's experiential with a C, not with a T, experiential learning. And so in order for your students to get an honors diploma this year, they have to do a work-based learning, an internship, a portfolio, in addition to everything else they already had to do for their honors diploma. So the idea of students exploring career fields in high school, it's just getting larger and larger. I mean, the Department of Education is now the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce, and we now have, K-12 education, higher education, and workforce all under that one department. So it's being consolidated, and it's trickling down into the high schools and into the middle schools as well. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
School is changing, and all of these changes, I mean, Heather had talked about, these are impacting our kids, and they'll impact our middle schoolers. It's just trickle down, like you said. Lots happening. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Oh, all right.
Have a great evening.
Yep.
Thank
Thanks. Appreciate it.
you. Yeah.
All right. Well, I have several things that I want to talk about this evening. First up is attendance, and September is attendance month in the state of Ohio because attendance does matter. And last year, when we started the year, our attendance rating for chronic absenteeism was 31%, and that met the state average. This year, after the work that was done over the past school year, we're at 19. And Stacy Crook has done a remarkable job of getting those kids to school, changing some habits, making connections, and building relationships. And so it was a really good year for her and a really good year for us. I see that only getting better. So we are ahead of the state average and making progress. So she's got some things in place. She's already been making home visits. And that's where you make a lot of your connections, and that's where you build your relationships. Sometimes outside of school, you can have a different conversation, and you find out a little bit more behind the story. And so those are really important conversations, and she's been having those with our kids. Couple that with the work that Judge Saunders is doing, where he is traveling around to the different schools, and he's meeting with kids here. So they're not missing school. They might miss a 20-minute class, but they come out, they have a conversation with the judge, the family's there, and they talk about the reasons they're not coming to school. Because it's the most important thing of all of our children is to get them here. If we get them here, we'll do good things with them. So that's the first step, and sometimes the first block to them making academic progress. So I'm proud of that. Stacy's done a nice job. If you see her, give her a little pat on the back. The OCR update, we are working through, this is the civil rights complaint that's been levied against us and 50 plus other districts about girls athletics. And we are in process of getting to collect our data. We've developed a survey. Miss Lucas, she jumped into it right away. She didn't know she was going into the frying pan. She's not in the fire yet, but she is in the frying pan. But she's done a great job, and we've been working together. We've got a team of people that put together our survey. We'll start collecting data from kids next, and former athletes and current athletes, and start getting that information together and see what we can learn. Once we get all of that collected in the spring, we'll come around and we'll submit that, and then we'll talk about resolutions to the issue that's been presented. So it's still in motion. We're in a good place. We have to have our survey developed by the December 1st. We have it already developed, and we're already going to start collecting some of that data. The track is an ongoing project. It's why my face and head is sunburnt, but it is really coming along. If you haven't had time to go down and look at it, check it out. The track, the field combined, starting to really come together. They look pretty good. The guys put the base coat of the track down, the black coat. The next will be the insulation of it. So they will be sealing it. And they do that with polyurethane. So they'll be sealing with polyurethane, and then they will put the actual running surface on. That'll be the last step. Well, actually, the last step will be lining the track. That necessarily doesn't have to happen right now, but it will happen. All of this, I'm hoping, will be finished in about 10 days. We'll have the track surface down, complete. Hopefully the weather cooperates. The field is coming together. We met with our sod guy today, Tony from Dresden, and he said it's looking good. He said we'll be ready to play the 21st. So the 21st of September, he said you should be good to go. By then, that'll be our full time limit. The grass will have rooted well. We've turned some of the sprinkler heads, getting them lined up so they're going to be away from the track. We can still keep the grass irrigated and not blow water all over the track while they're doing the sealing process. And so we're in a good spot. I think it's going to cool down maybe Friday, and then we're going to be back under 80 degrees again next week, which is ideal. So we're in a good spot with the track. Now the access piece, this is something that we've talked a little bit about, but I met with the guy who installs the surface, and he said this is a surface. He said this is a really nice surface, and he really likes to see the tracks used. And I think we can do that, and I think we can do that with some guidelines and some boundaries and expectations for our public, and give them access to the track. Mrs. Lucas and I and a couple of others have been talking about, Mr. McCollum have been talking about guidelines and rules and expectations. No wheels. We don't want any strollers. We don't want any wheels on the track. If people want to come and run on the track and walk on the track, having appropriate footwear is critical. We don't want food or gum or anything like that down in there. The gum is a real problem, so we need to just be mindful of that. I think our community will appreciate what we're providing and give them access from dawn to dusk on non-school hours or non-event hours to allow people onto the track to run, to walk, those kinds of things. We don't want animals down there on the track, those kinds of things. We'll have an explicit sign that lays out all the rules and all the expectations, and I believe that our community will follow those. Our homeless students, the beginning of school is an important time for our homeless kids. It's where you start identifying, and this is tied to Mrs. Crook's work as well. When they're not showing up, or they're inconsistent, or maybe they were registered last year and, hey, where are they? We haven't heard from them. Mrs. Crook and Mrs. Douglas go and work with our homeless families. And again, it's about building relationships, and often those are done in places other than school. You meet them where they are. This year we have about 13 families that are homeless and around 30 students that are homeless that are within those families. We know that there are probably more, but those are the ones that we've identified. We work with them, try to get them resources, try to get them to school, find ways to help them find stable housing. And it's an ongoing process, and for some families it's a long process, so you be patient and supportive. We've got good people here. Having children's services within the building is really helpful. If you know Kent Phelps, he's wonderful to work with. He knows lots of little things, little services that exist that can help people, so we're in a good place. But those are topical in that the attendance and the homeless kids this time of year, those are notable. So we'll work with those families once we find them. Soccer GPA. Our boys soccer team last year had one of the highest GPAs in the state. I believe we were third in the state of Ohio. And I know Mr. Crow could probably speak specifically about that. We have a wonderful group of kids. That group of kids is pretty exceptional, not only on the field, but in the classroom. And we're really proud of them. They're being recognized by the state. I think they said something last week. I don't know, Jerry, if you can speak in more detail to that. It is. Athletes don't always get credit for being great students. But I think here, our athletes are typically pretty exceptional students. They're engaged, they're disciplined, determined. Those kinds of skills and efforts carry over into the classroom. So really proud of those boys and proud of Coach Crow. That's quite an achievement. So just wanted to recognize them for that. Goals and report cards. Here in about a week, 2 weeks, we will start getting the final results of our state testing. We have been doing well. We've made progress in our subjects. We just met in our district leadership team earlier this week, and we talked about some of that progress, and we've reworked our goals because we've achieved them. So Mrs. Carr, she's in the back of the room right now, she is going to talk next at our next board meeting about the report card results and talk also about our revised goals. English, language arts, math, and culture climate. So, sure.
When I look at the performance indexes on the Ohio report card on their website, is that the sort of thing that would be reflected in that performance index?
Yes.
Okay. I guess one thing I just want to mention real quick, and I hope this isn't jumping the gun anywhere, but I was looking over that the other day. I've been thinking about the levy that's on, and just thinking about what this community gets for the dollars they spend. And when you look at what Alexander spends per pupil, there's one other school district in the county that spends less per pupil than we do, but our performance index is the highest in the county. A lot of people think Athens is, but our performance index is actually better than Athens. So I hope when people start thinking about the levy, they think about what they're getting for their money and what these teachers and the staff is doing, actually spending less per pupil than almost every other school district in the county. I'm getting a little passionate about that, if you can tell. But I'm just, kind of like you're talking about these soccer kids, I'm so proud to be a part of what's going on here. And I know for me, and just personally thinking about it, we're getting a great return on what we're putting in. And I just hope that we continue to support our kids and our teachers. They're doing so much, and I just don't want to cut their legs out from under them.
Yeah. There is a lot of really good work that's being done here. And I wish I had more teachers and more of our paras and custodians here to pat them on the back and tell them how much we appreciate it. I think our community does appreciate the work that's happening here. I think there is a lot of support in our community. I know it's hard to pay taxes. This is not anything new. We're not asking for any new money when it comes to this income tax. It's already been in place. We're asking for the continued support. We question money when it's being spent, and if there are positions that come open, we talk about whether we need to fill those positions or not. We do our best to be efficient, and so we ask questions all the time. And sometimes that not getting everything you want puts a little more on someone's plate, but we work hard and we get it done, and obviously we're getting it done well. So, yeah, I'm glad you said that. You got something you want to add?
No,
I've got other things. Every day this week I've added things to talk about, and you've already had a copy of a rough draft of the agenda, so I apologize for the additional topics. Okay, it's all good. One thing, the Inclusive Playground Project is up and running. We have there's a website now. There is actually a place where you can donate, a little QR code. We'll start getting this information out. This is important, and you talked about the levy. Our team, Anna Corpy and Lisa Weigel, are trying to raise enough money to have a fully inclusive and fully accessible playground and raise every penny outside of school. Trying to do that with donations, with grants, hard work, and just shaking trees, trying to find people. Dollars add up. to hundreds, and hundreds add up to thousands. And sometimes you do it $1 at a time. So little things. And they're really active and engaged. Tomorrow morning, there's actually going to be a presentation at the Morning Rotary, which I'll be there, and I know Mrs. Rouse is coming. So we are trying to get the word out about that inclusive playground. It's really good work. It's the right work, and they are going to do this outside of the school. They're doing a great job right now. And last thing that I'm going to talk about, and then I will be quiet. On the 28th of September, we are the host site for the Ohio School Board Association regional celebration. Now, this year will be different. The gentleman who has overseen all of these, and I know you've been a host site before. I know because I've attended at least one out here. The gentleman who attended this, who organized this, Paul Mock, he passed recently. And so he's got real roots in southeastern Ohio. I'm hoping that we could recognize him at that event, even with just a brief statement. Maybe we'll find someone really close to him who could say something. But we are still going to hold that event, and it's going to be on the 28th of September. All right. That's all that I have at this time.
Yeah, I just want to say a couple things on the levy. I've been disappointed because I haven't seen like any media coverage at all. So I don't know what's happening. But it seemed like we had a lot of publicity with the levy the last go around when we tried to pass it. But it took 6 attempts, 6 tries to get the thing passed by one vote 5 years ago. So it seems like a lot of people do tune in to our Facebook broadcast. So I'm going to take a quick second and just tell everybody what we're doing. The current levy doesn't expire until December of next year. All we're trying to do is renew it. It's a renewal. It's nothing that you haven't been accustomed to for the last 4 years and that you're going to be accustomed to next year. All we're trying to do is get ahead of the curve and get it passed so that we can basically predict our future income after 2024. So I think one of our side conversations that Josh and I had a couple 3 meetings ago, I think somebody was concerned that because there is a little bit of an overlap, they were worried that they were going to have to pay 2% tax, and that's not the case. This is absolutely a renewal that will be effective January 1st of 25. It's just a 1%. We're trying to continue with the 1% levy, and I believe it's still 5 years.
It is 5
we
years.
are honoring that voter criticism that the levy committee learned from prior failures, because I think the first time we tried it, we just had it on indefinitely, and the voters were like, that ain't going to fly. So we're not trying to do anything different. It's pretty much status quo. So hopefully those out there listening, if you haven't seen anything, this kind of clarifies it. It's just we're just asking for a continuation of our current 1% earned, and I stress earned, income tax levy. It still doesn't tax retirement. It still doesn't tax Social Security, investments, nothing. It's wages and self-employment income. So I'll shut up, but I haven't seen anything publicized about our levy, and hopefully this helps clarify and get rid of some misconceptions people might have.
We have a young man who's going to lead a group to kind of organize some thoughts and some activities. Mr. Hill is going to guide some folks, and I'm excited to have him there. He's a good fellow, good teacher. We're looking forward to helping that happen. I think people do want to know, and we can tell them the facts, and the facts are pretty simple. It's everything you just said. It's not any new money. We're not going to have double contributions over that overlap. It's going to stay at 1%. It's important to our operations. It allows us to function, and it allows us to offer some of the extras that make this a special place. So that's how.
I think the levy, we're just a tick over 10% of our annual budget is what
It's
the
about
levy.
that. 10%.
So, I mean, 10%, if it doesn't pass, that's not a small feat to overcome.
10% out of anyone's income will change your lifestyle.
It will.
So.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, and it was great to hear all the work, not only by staff, but students as well. It's always good to hear what good people are doing, so. I didn't see anybody on public participation. All right, so, any items on the consent agenda that people would like removed? And I'll make a motion for the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Roll.
Jay,
Yes.
Lucy,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Blake. Blake?
Yes. I don't think I'd hit anything. Okay. We have items for board approval. Item A, it's recommended that the Board of Education employ Rachel Turner as a paraprofessional effective September 6, 2023, pending her meeting all state and local requirements.
Move.
Second, discussion. This is replacement, correct? All right.
Yes.
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 Yes. On the addendum, we have item B. It's recommended the Board of Education approve the memorandum of understanding with ALEA regarding the addition of esports supplemental. So moved.
Seconded.
Discussion. These are positions that are just being added to the supplemental due to the new esports.
Yes.
Just clarifying. So this is a new club or sport team that is being added to our offerings here at Alexander.
This was a popular club last year. We talked a little bit about this last year, but anytime you go to consider an additional supplemental, first I want people to demonstrate an interest and some enthusiasm and a need. And right now, esports is a hot ticket. Kids are in it. There are multiple schools in Southeast Ohio that have esports teams. It is very competitive. We had, I think, 29 or 31 kids that were after school about every day practicing. I mean, you can say that with a smile and you can chuckle, but yeah, I hand you a controller and they take care of you pretty quickly. But no, yes, it's national, it's worldwide. It is something that's very public. It may not be of our generation, but the kids really are drawn to it, and this fits the need for a different kid and gives them a group and a place to fit. And I think when you do that, I mean, again, it just builds the community within your school. Find other places for kids to fit and give them opportunities to compete and succeed. So,
Roll.
Jay,
Yes.
Lucy,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Blake.
Abstain. All right. Business initiated by board members. Board reports. I didn't see any public participation. So our next scheduled meeting is October 11th, 7 p.m. right here. Any conflicts that we know of? Back in the country?
yes, I will be back.
All right, then I look for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second. Roll.
Jay,
Yes.
Lucy,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Blake.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.